Hello everyone, I am live once again and I want to take just 1 minute to try to understand one thing. Okay. And I think I managed to understand something, finally. Which is not well documented, as usual. Okay, so since last time we saw each other, many things happened. As usual, I have taken my trusty notes and I have managed a few of them off stream. Others we will manage today, others I will manage off stream some other day, and finally others again will be managed on stream some other day. One of the few things I managed, as I mentioned in the previous stream, was the issue with the microphone, and I'm not certain I have finished because I certainly changed things, changed the configuration of the microphone and changed the position of the microphone as well. Maybe, actually, most likely you don't see it, but the microphone is now attached to this, whereas previously the microphone was attached to the desk on which I have the computer from which I'm streaming and the screen on which the camera is positioned. Which also means that I cannot anymore put these on this, but my water bottle will be on my right from now on, at least for a while. I have plans for the future, but they are for the future. Moreover, I have, as I mentioned, managed a few of the notes. So definitely I went through the 3 notes taken during the stream, and I have managed a few of them. I also added this mermaid graph that I think will be always in our notes, so that we can see the growth of the whole process, that in my opinion should be a process that should be easy to replicate, and it will allow me to eventually destroy and recreate the whole infrastructure with the least amount of effort. Maybe in the future, eventually, the infrastructure itself will be kind of self-healing. That's the idea why I want to implement a Kubernetes cluster. One of the ideas. Of course, there is also the plan to learn more about Kubernetes. in general, because I know very, very little. So, as you can see from this graph, if we compare it to the previous one, the difference is just in this last section, that previously we had a broken VM. After day 3, the VM creation is completed. We can create virtual machines as much as we want. And we will be doing some more virtual machine creation and destruction during this stream, because as far as I understood, using Terraform, I am able to inject the public SSH key, my own public SSH key, inside the VM. Moreover, we need also to connect to the VM itself. And we will need to move to the next steps. And the next steps, maybe I did write something in here. Yes, the operating system discussion, that I have already decided to not use Arch Linux for this cluster. I will be continuing to use it on my personal computer, but I will not be using it on my servers because it's far too cumbersome. So for example, last night I performed an upgrade, and before the stream I performed another upgrade of the operating system, and I want to say that maybe there were even more packages today than yesterday. Yesterday was maybe 3 or 4 days that I didn't upgrade. I cannot upgrade every single day my cluster, especially when it comes to multiple computers and multiple virtual machines. It will take too much time, so I'm thinking of moving away from Arch Linux. I want to use an immutable distro. I will not be using NixOS. I will instead use Fedora Core OS. That I recently learned was previously just Core OS and was then bought, as far as I understood, from Red Hat, I guess. They are the guys behind Fedora, so I am expecting they bought it. I will not even try to use Ubuntu. Maybe actually I will create a VM with Ubuntu just for, I don't know, to say I did it, pretty much. I will also be managing a couple of things that are still in the list. So let me share the screen about the eventual list of things that, if you recall, was up to here, and now we have much more. After all, during the day 3 last stream, even I remember that I continuously mentioned that yes, this is something we need to investigate, but not now. That was pretty much the theme of the stream. Of course, one thing that I want to manage as well is related to Codeberg. I want to start putting things on Codeberg, so maybe during the stream we will start doing that as well. Okay, so that is the plan. So first of all, I already logged in on Proxmox, and as you remember, at the end of last stream we uploaded the ISOs for Fedora Core OS and Ubuntu, I will be removing the one for Arch Linux. I will be doing it here. It's not an issue. And this is something that requires this change so that there it is, so that I can actually use it. So let's start by writing ISO Proxmox VE removal of Arch Linux ISO completed, I guess, given I started the phrase in this way. Now let's go into here, maybe, there we go, and in here we will go as usual to documents, Terraform tests, and in here we need to put some order as well, because we have all of this and that's not good. So plan and 1, 2, 3, 4 are likely something that I don't need anymore. So let's remove 1, 2, 3, 4 and plan. Test.tf, we can rename it. Test. Perfect. Into provider.tf. Oh yes, one other thing I removed that I noticed was this sound in case I make any mistake. It was extremely loud, way louder than I expected, and extremely annoying, even for me. So this is much better. I don't know if during this stream you will be able to hear as loudly or at all the fan noises from my computer. I can tell you that the fan noises are present. Same for my chair. Yeah, something as it seems can be heard. So I guess also the water bottle and me swallowing water, I guess. But that's okay. So this is a good name for this file. I don't know if I need to Terraform init again. I don't think so. I just renamed the file, but we will see. First vm.tf instead can stay here, especially because I'm planning to move this away from here and start working on a better configuration. So in here we have a copy of test.tf from the first stream, so likely a completed one, I would say, but nothing else. And I think I will create another folder. So let me think. the folder is named cluster. C cluster instead. No, cluster. Perfect. We are inside Terraform, so it's ideal. And we go in here and we cp the file provider.tf in cluster. Perfect. In this case, definitely we will need to run Terraform init, because as I recall, Terraform init initializes the Terraform provider based on the provider, based on the configurations inside the file.tf that is found in the specific folder, which means that right now we do have a .tf file related to the provider, but we do not have any initialization in this folder. So let's go Terraform init, and it seems everything is correct. And indeed now we have a Terraform, a .terraform folder and a .terraform.lock.hcl folder file. Another thing that I have learned, or better, I knew but I ignored. I mentioned that I want to use and stay as much as possible for reasons of philosophy on open source projects, and then I'm using Terraform. That is definitely not open source. I guess I'm not sure why this didn't feel too annoying, but as soon as that was aware, as soon as I was aware about this, I started to think about something, and I did find I don't remember the name, open something project, I don't remember, and I may be remembering the name mistakenly, and it is I don't want to say drop-in replacement for Terraform, but it is something like Terraform that is open source. I don't know if it will work with Proxmox. I will look it up. I saved it on my notes, not the notes for the stream, but other notes I take, and I will try it out and see if it served the purpose to replace Terraform, in which case I will work on that. But for the time being, let's continue in this route. Now, we still have this VM, and I will destroy it. To destroy it, I think I need to go back here, and I can run terraform destroy. And there is no undo, and I don't mind. So now this VM disappears. It served its purpose, letting me learn the basics of Terraform. which can be useful in the future as general knowledge in this world that is the tech space, DevOps kind of works and such. So let's now copy this file again, first VM to cluster, and in here we have first VM.tf, which will be renamed into so I will just rename it, since it's a test anyways, second VM, and then oh yeah, there it is, perfect. Because in this second VM I will try two things. I will try the, as I mentioned, let's try the Ubuntu ISO, which is not much of an issue, and I will also try to inject the SSH key. So first of all, let's cut the SSH key, and I have it here. Maybe I will put it in my profile on my YouTube and Twitch as well. So if you actually want to have me access some infrastructure, you can add it, but I'm not certain about that for the time being. If you really want to do something like that, you will have to zoom in maybe and copy and paste it. Anyways, this is one, and then SSH root 192, 168, 140. Shall user being this what? Okay. So, as you can see, Proxmox is running. I have never read this error, no such file. I'm trying to connect to a VM. What the hell is going on? SSH root at 192, 168, 140. Okay. Well, as I mentioned in the previous streams, for some reason it is trying. No, it's not trying to do things that running configuration data. It's not accepting my SSH key. This would be pretty odd, as it worked before and nothing changed. Permissions and everything else is correct. Is not executable. No such file or directory. So after trying what the hell? Is it an issue in the non-hosts? Let's try. I don't think so, because usually, yeah, I have other VMs. Look, let's remove everything that is related to 40, and the others can stay, I don't mind. Nothing. Okay, maybe we will not be able to do everything we want to do, because I will now try to understand this issue. And I'm not too sure about what to search before. So it's not executable. So Z shell is the shell that is in this machine. Yes. Or is it? It is in this machine in my other profile. In this profile, it seems I'm using bash. It seems. Let's figure out how to do it, but this leads me to believe that I'm using definitely bash and not Z shell, which also means that I'm even more confused from this. But maybe there is a way to read. Yes, shell, there it is. I am not writing something wrong. Either this changed for some reason. Okay, let's search. Oh yes, maybe it's an update that gave me this issue. I'm not sure. So SSH issue. No, I need to actually give the error I'm getting. Why is it using that? Maybe I need to change that configuration. always a new thing to learn. It is strange that I'm getting this kind of error though, and it's a little bit annoying because I wanted to go on with something else. But yes, something I can do is search user bin okay, so user bin z shell is there, and emacs, sorry, env is here as well, and it is the same kind of shell. So it's odd, because it will seem that everything is the same as last time, but today it's not. No such file directory. So okay, there is some issue because there is a space, it seems. Let me see this file one moment. Okay. I do have a Z shell. So if I go like this, maybe shall equal and okay, up, yes, okay, and let's remove the double V that is not needed anymore. Okay. Let's copy this error in the notes because it's interesting, and now I don't really have the time to understand what happened. Appeared when I tried to SSH into the Proxmox host. Proxmox VE host. Okay, so this is one. At a different time I will. Connection error, server offline. What? Why? Odd, but okay. Let's see. 75 packages. Let's check them. Open SSL, base files, console setup, distro info, and a lot of lib. Whatever. I have postfix. Interesting. a lot of stuff related to Proxmox, even though Proxmox updates. Oh, okay, maybe it's just the repository status. Okay, but anyways, -y, and in the meantime, oh yeah, cool. Okay, export shall equal this, and now we can SSH into the VM. Okay, it's not the best kind of solution to this, but I will figure it out another time. For now it works, and that's a good point. So I came here to run this command again. Actually, 91. There it is. Fedora Core OS and Ubuntu. Copy. And now we can find PV enterprises. Yeah, that's something that I will likely either delete or move. But anyways, we are here and we go into second VM.tf. Oh jeez, let me drink something. I just remember another thing I managed off stream, for which I actually have a dedicated note. I mentioned a similar tool to VS Code and Atom that I tried to use and wouldn't work. I took some time last week to troubleshoot that, and now Z actually works. Before I start using it on stream, which may work better than Vim, I'm not sure. I want to try to use it personally for my job and maybe for personal other personal projects, and see if my usage of Z is good enough to actually implement it in my life. It's new to me. I use VS Code very rarely. For some reason, I think a little over 2 years ago, I started to learn some Python, and I did learn something, but I'm not a developer, and it's definitely not for me. I can read a Python script, I can kind of understand what it does, and if I have an error in Python, I can kind of read it and try to figure out why it's happening. But yeah, I'm not a developer, and I don't plan right now in learning to develop properly. I will always create scripts and bullshit stuff just for fun, but definitely not to the professional level, let's say. So we want to try this, but we want to try also this is Proxmox, and I don't care for the moment. So in here there was something about SSH keys provision through Cloud Init. Nope. top level block. There is something about top level block. Define connection info. Boolean default to true. Whether to let Terraform define the SSH connection parameters for pre-provisioners. See config block below. Pre-provisioners. Define connection info. It's already true, so I don't need to do anything about it. But in here we have other things that are still in the top level block. SSH forward IP only applies when the fine connection info is true. It is true. The IP an optional colon separated port to use to connect to host for pre-provisioning. If using Cloud Init, this can be left blank. Only applies when that is true, and it's true by default. To connect to the guest for pre-provisioning. Okay, but I need to better understand what pre-provisioning actually means. For Cloud Init user, so definitely not this, because I'm not using Cloud Init, at least right now. I mentioned it last week, and I have it in my notes to learn something about Cloud Init, so maybe I don't need to do anything else. In addition to arguments above, the following attributes can be referenced from this resource. Okay, so this is something that I need. Yeah, but see config block below. Is it this, the config block? An attribute reference? I may have misunderstood things. Something about networks, PCIs. I'll definitely need that when we talk about my GPU. Storage. Network. Acquire network card model. Jesus. Okay. MAC address. Bridge tag. Firewall. MTU rate. Queues. Link down. So the network block is used to configure the network devices. It may be specified multiple times, okay, because you can configure more network devices. The order in which the blocks are specified determines the ID for each net device. i.e., the first network block will become net 0, the second will be net 1, etc. See the docs about network devices for more details. Okay, so each VM can have many network interface controllers. of 4 different types. Intel E1000 default emulates Intel Gigabit network card. VirtIO para-virtualized network interface controller should be used if you aim for maximum performance. Like all VirtIO devices, the guest OS should have the proper driver installed. Realtek 8139 emulates an older 100 megabit per second, no, megabyte per second network card. Strange, megabyte per second. But it's okay. NVM XNet 3. Another para-virtualized device which should be only used when importing a VM from another hypervisor. Sounds good. Proxmox VE will generate for each NIC a random MAC address so that your VM is addressable on Ethernet networks. Ethernet, okay. The NIC you added to the VM can follow one or two different models: bridge mode and NAT mode. You can also skip adding a network device when creating a VM by selecting non-network device. You can overwrite the MTU. What is MTU? For each VM network device manually, leaving the field empty. Multi-queue. If you're using the VirtIO driver, you can optionally activate the multi-queue option. This option allows the guest OS to process networking packets using multiple virtual CPU, providing an increase in the total number of packets transferred. I don't feel like I need that. It was a long day, even today. So I can definitely define a VirtIO device. So let me see how to do that. ID 0. So network. Let's try this. Network. Okay, so ID is required, so ID equal 0. Model equal VirtIO model provides the best performance with very low CPU overhead. If your guest does not support this driver, it is usually best to use E1000. To be honest, I am creating the VM, so I decide what kind of hardware it will have, as well as software. So I don't see the reason why I would not go for VirtIO for the current configuration. I can envision that maybe I am testing a very specific kind of hardware, virtualized hardware, that is instead mimicking an actual physical hardware. So I need to specify the exact kind of model of network interfaces, as well as other details but in my case, I don't see the reason. So I will definitely go Virta.io. MacAddr string, override the randomly generated MAC address. Definitely not. By default it's a NAT bridge to which the network device should be attached. The Proxmox VE standard bridge is called VMBR0. Okay. But do we have networks configured in here? Network. Okay. There is something configured actually. Linux bridge that bridges to this Linux device. Okay. That connects to the internet. Most likely. So VMBR0 looks like it's correct in my case instead of not. Bridge VMBR0. VMBR0. Yeah, I forgot that strings needs double quotes, or at least maybe even quotes. The VLAN to apply, the VLAN tag to apply to packets on this device. 0 disables VLAN tagging. I'm not too experienced with VLAN tagging. Whether to enable the Proxmox firewall on this network device. By default it's false. No rate limiting. Queues 1 will be alright, link down when this interface should be disconnected. It looks to me like this is correct. Read-only attribute, read-only attribute, read-only attribute, read-only attribute. Okay. But in here, they're not read-only. OS network config only applies when it's true network configuration to be copied into the VM when pre-provisioning Ubuntu or CentOS guests. Okay, let's finally search for... I'm not sure, but pre-provision. Okay, there is nothing about pre-provisioning in here. I don't know if maybe it's here. Proxmox pool. Comment, example of a pool. Cloud init disk. Doesn't seem, if I recall correctly, near developer. Cloud init getting started. Good to know that this is here, but it's not what I'm using. Everything in here was already managed. I don't even know if if I did it this way. Okay, copy executor to plug internet. Assumes the provider without an explicit source address belonging to Terraform.io, which is not true for your in-house provider. Instead, you can use any domain name under your control to establish a virtual source registry. I don't really know what this is about. Manual build. Oh yeah, I'm not doing manual build install, so I don't care. Okay, so this is configured. It is seemingly configured correctly. There is no configuration about the SSH key, and that's a bummer, maybe, but let's see if it works. So Terraform plan error. Fair enough. There was a typo. Now there is no error. So minus out, and we go temp, and now we go Terraform apply temp. We are creating the VM, and here we already find it. It is still named first VM because I didn't change that. There it is, and the text as well, but it's okay, it's not an issue. I will change those configuration in another moment. 2 CPUs, 4 gigabytes of RAM, totally okay. And in this case, we also have the networking configured, it seems. Let me check hardware, cloud init, option, task, monitor, backup, replication, snapshot, firewall permission. It's a bit slow for some reason, and that's odd. I mean, I created a single VM and that's it. Thank you. Go figure. But anyways, now we have this, but we get to here and the VM is not ready to be used. So what is the next step after the VM creation with the Terraform? We need to configure it. And especially in the case of Fedora Core OS, we need to investigate. We take security seriously. Is there documentation? There it is. Provisioning machines. Proxmox, booting on Proxmox. Machine on Proxmox. You must have an ignition configuration file containing your customization. If you do not have one, see producing an ignition file. You also need to have access to a Proxmox virtual environment cluster or standalone server with administrative privileges to create VMs and storage configurations. All of the commands will be run as the root user on the Proxmox virtual virtualization environment host. So this is definitely correct. I don't have this, so we also need this one. And I will need to replicate these configuration maybe on, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. I don't think I can perform all these operations. So creating a storage directory using Proxmox with Terraform. But we can check, because there is stuff for the storage, but it is the storage of the storage of the VM itself. Yes, it's not about the configuration on Proxmox itself. Okay, so that's good. This is good. We also need the ignition file. That will be really important as far as I know, which is very little. But we also need to take a couple of notes. So SSH injection with Terraform. I have either misunderstood that this operation can be performed, or misunderstood, or I misunderstood. Misunderstood. A new name. The documentation about it. We will look it up in another stream or in another moment. What else? Network configuration. I may actually need to create a dedicated network in the Proxmox VE to segment it for the usage in the specific cluster with Kube and with something else, maybe. But it's something I will need to investigate. The network is not my strongest suit. Information about networking is something I need to learn quite well. So it will take some time, but network block. Here an example of a basic and correct network block. And we go like this. we go cat second VM and we take this and we put it here. Ubuntu quick test performed the creation of a VM with Ubuntu. Good enough for the moment. Fedora Core OS. Perfect. Requires an ignition file as well as some operations in the Proxmox VE host, which is totally cool. Okay, I downloaded the image already, so I don't need this, but I do need this. Let's do it. And let's do this. And yeah, wrong, but it's okay. There we go. Now what do? We try to implement that in the Proxmox host. Okay, make dir -p /var core OS. Then pvsm add dir core OS -path this. By the way, that feature that I have used to quickly type var /var /again core OS is ask, pressing the ask button and then dot. This will paste to stdin the last argument that was used in the previous command, as far as I know. I don't exactly know what's that called, but it's very effective. So that when a folder is created and then we need to use it, like in this moment, it's really quick to type it again. And we go and use this path, this directory, for what content? Images and snippets. Nice. So first create a directory structure, perfect. Proxmox as a Proxmox VE storage location that can hold both VM images and configuration snippets. And now we have this, indeed. So maybe I need to download the image. This command creates a new storage location named Core OS that Proxmox VE can use for storing disk images and configuration snippets, including ignition files, which is something that I don't know if I need, but depends, since I'm using also Terraform. For more details on Proxmox VE storage configuration, see the Proxmox VE storage documentation. That's fair enough. Downloading Fedora Core OS provides pre-built images specifically optimized for Proxmox VE. Oh, okay, that's what is meant. You can download these images using either the Core OS installer binary or via a container. Or I can do it from I think I can go like this, and I can go in here and find the correct one. Sorry, but maybe it's here, virtualized, there it is. That's totally okay. What size is it? 900 megabytes, very similar to the actual ISO, but that's okay. Let's continue. Well, this is stable, I would hope. I don't have this binary. But that's totally okay. Let's go back in here one moment. Load the stable artifact. Perfect. It's stable and it's correct. So anyways, preparing ignition configuration. So both methods. Okay, upload your ignition configuration file to the snippet directory, setting up a new VM. Name qcow egn storage local LVM CPU2 memory disk size. Define the parameters. Adjust these variables according to your requirements, all of them. That's fair enough. Creating and configuring the VM. This is manual creation. I want to do it with Proxmox, with Terraform for the time being. So we'll need to kind of, I don't need that, I don't need this either for the time being, and this neither. I do need to move, no, let's do this, let's do this. Wrong, but it's okay. CD, yeah, downloads. Perfect. We have the xz.exe, the qcow2.exe. I think I need to export again. Export. And SCP Fedora CoreOS 43 new version, okay, to root at 192.168.140 var CoreOS. Give it a couple of minutes. In the meantime, I will second tf, yeah, core os vm.tf vim again ask dot, and we're there. So definitely I expect that this will disappear. Let's change some details as well, like tags. Let's go for core OS first VM. Let's change that to core OS VM, and this is core OS as well. Okay, so those are the things that needs changing right away. But VM ID, this is something that I don't need to manage unless I want to. Because it will be changed up, will be configured by itself. Name, okay, qcow. I need to search for qcow. And there is nothing for qcow. So we are limited and we cannot do this, it would seem. Unless, since I wanted to do it, I create one VM manually and I clone it with Terraform for all the other purposes. I can do it now in this case, but it's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying. Let me check if there is anything else. By the way, and here I do another test. Yeah, it's correct. Disk size 90 gigabytes. I didn't configure a disk size ever in this. I could use the Fedora CoreOS ISO, but then I don't know. Let's see if there is cleanup. Oh yeah, it's okay. Oh, okay. I should decompress it as well. Not an issue. I can just go to cd CoreOS I should put it to images, into images, I would say. Yeah. Yeah. Inside images. So we go XZ, XZ, minus help, maybe. Decompress. Okay, minus D of Fedora. Good enough? I'm not sure. It is good enough. And now Fedora to images. So that's correctly configured. It's really annoying. On bare metal, let's see this. From live ISO, born ISO to this, boot it to target system. You can now run CoreOS installer. Sudo CoreOS install. Okay. So it's not that difficult. How do I do this in a programmatic way and not manually? And there we started to think about Ansible, because I cannot think of anything else. I don't want to have to run commands, that kind of commands at least. Okay, anyways, everyone prerequisite producing an ignition file, so let's work on this page first. Then we will decide which route to take. Either cloning a VM template, and then I can also reconfigure that VM, because if I take the same name or something like that, I can just add resources or remove resources or something like that. Anyways, ignition overview. Ignition is a provisioning utility that reads a configuration file in JSON format and provides a Fedora CoreOS system based on that configuration. I really like this. Configurable components include storage and file system, systemd units, and users. Ignition runs only once during the first boot of the system, while in the init RAM FS. Because ignition runs so early in the boot process, it can repartition disks, format file systems, create users, and write files before the user space begins to boot. As a result, systemd services are already written to disk when systemd starts, speeding the time to boot. Good. Configuration process. Ignition configurations are formatted as JSON, which is quick and easy for a machine to read. Agreed. However, these files are not easy for humans to read or write. Seems kind of fair enough. It's not the worst, I want to say, but at the same time, it's not the best either. Look at this. Someone else that tried to do things in my chat, but it's okay. I mean, I'm the only viewer currently, so thank you for the message, I guess. Ignition configuration are formatted as JSON, which is, I already read that. However, these files are not easy for human to read or write. The solution is a two-step configuration process that is friendly for both humans and machines. Produce a YAML formatted butane, I guess, config. Run butane to convert the YAML file into a JSON ignition config. During the transpilation, process, butane verifies the syntax of the YAML file, which can catch errors before you use it to launch the Fedora Core OS system. Once you have an ignition.ign file, you can use it to boot a Fedora Core OS system in a VM or install it on bare metal. Try to plan your configuration with the full set of customization details before provisioning a Fedora Core OS instance, but don't worry if you forgot something, as you can fix the configuration and redeploy the instance from a fresh image. Okay. Getting butane. You can run butane as a container with Docker or Podman, or download it as a standalone binary. Unless otherwise noted, new releases of butane, someone will tell me how to pronounce it properly, are backwards compatible with old releases. I appreciate that. Via container with Podman or Docker. Okay. To make it simpler, installing via distribution packages. I guess I could check if I have it in here. It's there from AUR, so maybe I will likely decide to use a Docker container for it. Okay, example, create a basic ignition config that modifies the default Fedora Core OS using core to allow this user to log in with an SSH key. Overall steps are as follows. Write butane. Okay, so this is quite the undertaking, it seems. I will not work on this right now. I will instead work on something else right now before completing the stream, and next stream will be dedicated to butane, ignition file, and deployment of Fedora CoreOS virtual machine either with the Terraform directly or manually first and then with Terraform through cloning, maybe? We can try both as well, since I wanted to test the cloning too. Now, if I go in here, I can delete the ISOs, in my opinion, because I have them already in the correct place. And also the XZ file. So I save some space because I'm not filled with disk space. But now what we can do is related to this. Okay. And we can also go like this. I don't know if wow, I will use it like this. I feel better already. Provider.tf, perfect. Second VM.tf, perfect. CoreOS VM.tf, not perfect and not usable. I will also test having these files and checking with the plan if both are managed. Anyways, okay, clone this repository, creating a new repository from on the command line, pushing an existing repository from command line. Actually, let's take a couple of notes first. Okay, this is quite the undertaking. Given it requires a lot of learning. Butane, ignition, testing both cloning manually created VM as per FGOS documentation and trying directly with Terraform using the ISO instead. I will dedicate the next, possibly next few stream to this. Codeberg. Let's work on this. And not only that, but I also need, so for example, this was managed. Okay, managed. During day 4 stream. me see if I managed something else. I need to go through this, but it's okay. Investigator allocation, non-citizen application. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is strange. Okay. Wake on LAN for the Proxmox host. Test protection configuration of the VM. Okay, but understand concept of ballooning. Name the specific core block option. Okay. The block is related to GPU. No, not known right now. Research. Okay. Okay, so Codeberg is what we do right now. And indeed, what we want to do is take this empty repository. Oh yeah, maybe I need to sign in, which means I don't even remember the password for this. Yes, okay, remembered. And password, copy username. Perfect. Of course, it was logged out. Oh yeah, these are things that are not important right now. Oh, I don't remember how to. Yeah, like this, maybe. No, 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 no. Yeah. I feel better. Okay. Terraform. And indeed, copy this and git clone. Ah. Huh. Okay. You don't see the password, so I don't mind. That's totally okay. Okay, cd Terraform. That's okay. We will take everything that is above and put it here. So that's another useful command. cd space dash will send you to the previous folder you were located in, to the previous working directory. And that's really useful because if you change folders a lot, or if the folders are really far apart, so you can't go, for example, like this, to move to the parent folder, you may need to write the whole path or something else, copy and paste it. It's quicker. Anyways, provide, yeah, provider, second, temp I don't need, Terraform, Proxmox log, and terraform dot tfstate, perfect, to terraform, perfect, as mouse LA. I need to move that stuff. So I don't remember. Source destination to directory, but what if I want to move a directory? Exchange force interactive, no clubber, not override existing file, no target directory, treat destination as a normal file. Maybe it's not an issue. No, it is an issue. It will change the name of the directory, but I know how to, yeah, I remembered. So dot terraform, the slash is important, and indeed, if I go terraform, there it is, together with the dot git. And now move dot terraform, perfect, to terraform. Now we can go back to terraform. And we get everything in here. Now we don't have a readme, so vim readme.md, and yeah, in this terraform configuration files for my cluster. In this repo you can find the configuration files used for the creation of the cluster managed during the stream. And you can see me work on this live on YouTube or Twitch, and I will add the link to them later. And now we have the readme.md. Perfect. Now what do we do? We write stuff. Oh no, we need to use git. Git add readme, if I recall correctly. Git status, I need to commit. Git commit -m, if I recall correctly, and I don't remember if it's fit, but let's go fit. Create readme.md file with the description of the repo. Maybe it's even too verbose, but yes. Wait. Yeah, because I have not configured that. Okay, so let me configure this stuff, and actually I need to check the email I've used because I don't remember it. Joined, yeah, it's okay. Start profile settings, I guess. Account, that's perfect. Okay, and I have used another email address, and I will need to change that. Okay, identification, primary activity, add email address. There it is, add email address. And let me go on Gmail. Yeah, I don't plan to show my email address. But if I refresh now, yes, make primary, perfect, remove this. Okay. I feel better. It's not an issue. Now, that means that I can go git config -- global user.email, and we go with my email address, that is this one. And then user.name, locally. Now if I git commit 7 insertion, status, okay. But more than that, if I go code, I didn't push it yet. I'm not the wisest. But anyways, git add core OS I don't remember commit specific to a file. Let me go git push. I don't think I can git push. I will need to configure also this, but this is something I will definitely configure off stream. Okay, git status again. That means that if I go like this, I find the readme. And I appreciate. I will not do git add minus capital A, because I prefer to have what is meant as an atomic operation. So I will do this a single file and a single commit for each file. So git add CoreOS and git commit -m. I don't remember if I need to specify the file as well. Git commit for specific file. There it is. I think I need. Yeah, there it is. What I need to file. So, Jesus, let me go back in here. It is dark at least. -m, the message, that is fit in this case, and it is create core OS, or better FCOS Terraform resource file. Incomplete. I think it's correct. Correct. So this is one. Now we go git add provider.tf. Oh, I just had a really strong headache coming quickly to my head, but it's okay, I don't mind. So git add provider.tf, this is really important. So git commit -m fit create Terraform configuration file for the Proxmox VE provider. Perfect. Oh, I forgot to add this file. I don't think in this case anything changes, because it was the only file that was not committed, but I will need to be careful about this later. So git add second vm.tf, git commit some fit, given the nature of this repository, create test configuration test resource, test Terraform resource file with Ubuntu ISO. And I don't think I need to add anything else apart adding the rest on the... Yeah, you probably heard that, and I apologize, but my headphones fell. Okay. Which, with my headache at the moment, it's not great, but it's okay. Anyways, this is correct. I need to add in the git ignore everything else, because I don't think this is needed, this is not needed, and these two are not needed, because are the configuration file that are used locally. .git, I don't have much in here, and I don't remember where to put the git ignore file. Git ignore yes, that's totally okay. Okay, so I put it just location. Okay, so Vim, not Vim, don't remember if I do this, I don't, okay, but I can always do this. So in here we go git ignore, and we just put the files that we need to ignore. Copy. I don't know if it works with folders too. Okay, so if I go git status, I like it, so git add dot git ignore, git commit -m, fit add dot git ignore file related to logs and local configurations. Possibly in the future I will also add plans to the git ignore, I guess. And again, I forgot to put the name of the file, but it's okay because I committed everything else. So now git push local and the password. Perfect. So now we can refresh and we find readme, provider, core OS, second VM. The first I will not put it because it's not needed right now. In case I will put it, and a git ignore. So this is positive. It's a good thing. This is not needed. So notes as well. Oh, yeah. First of all, I need to go in here. Managed during day 4 stream. And this is positive. Top of that, Codeberg created the local version of the repo. Or better, cloned the empty repo locally. Created the readme.md. Needs modifications. Added important configuration files on the repo. I may actually set this repo as public. Maybe I will need to modify the provider because currently there is this in here, but it's okay. Terraform configuration files in the repo to the repo. I don't know which one is better. And created .git ignore file for local configurations that are not needed. And the idea is that maybe I will create a file for the variable of the key for the provider, for the key the secret of the API token for Proxmox and add that file to the gitignore. And in the provider, I will refer that file with the API token. In that case, I will be able to set this repo as public, and on top of that, I will be able to provide it as is with changes and the possibility for anyone to open PRs and ask things. In which case, if I perform this operation, I will also add in the README the fact that everybody will need to have their own variable files for the API token as well. So for the time being, I think this was positive. It was a positive stream in general. Let me change to this. So we moved on again. Was it let me see if the focus can be fixed. I hope so. Anyways, no, it's not fixed. Maybe it was like this whole stream, in which case I will get angry in a few days when I rewatch the stream to take notes and improve. But anyways, I will figure out that configuration as well, if there is such a focus configuration. Anyways, I was saying, the stream was really useful. Things are moving forward. I knew from the start that this stream would be less technical and more organizational, let's say, because I wanted to move on from certain things, and sometimes we will need some configurations to be managed, some organizations like this Codeberg repo, and this is not the only one that will happen. For the time being, I think this was good. Step forwards are being made, and this is still great. So, one last thing that I forgot to mention. So first of all, on Twitch, I noticed that the recordings of the streams are kept only for 1 week. I expect that happens because, first of all, they are usually around 6 to 7 gigabytes, and at the same time, I'm not bringing money to Twitch currently. Maybe in the future, I don't know. At the same time, on YouTube, those streams are saved and are available. And this is really good for me, mainly for a long-term future project, so that I can see my improvement during my time streaming and other such videos that I may create. So for that reason, on Twitch, I just publish the videos and nothing more. Whereas on YouTube, I hope I said the correct thing. On Twitch, I publish the videos as they are, and I download them as well. On YouTube instead, I also created a playlist that will have all the single videos in the correct order. So if you want to follow the complete series of creation of the cluster from zero to everything, everybody can. Having said that, thank you and see you next week.